clarify something, say it is unfortunate that our leaders that are privileged by virtue of the positions they've occupied before rely on that to deceive members and leaders of and citizens of this country. Why am I saying so? Suswam at his level is not expected to come to a national television. I will not be economical with my words to come and lie. Why I said lie? There is no section in our constitution. PDP is a political association, and by that has a constitution that is the grand norm that governs every member of that party or association. So there is no section, and I dare Suswam, the former governor of Benue State, to show me a section where it is stated that it is the responsibility of the Southeast Zone to nominate a replacement if not assuming or not conceding if there was a vacancy in the for the position of the national secretary. Now let me clear that, and let some of these our leaders that have come to deceive people know the truth. Looking at section 47(6), state it clearly there, and I'll crave your indulgence to read it so Nigerians and party faithful will see that it is not the responsibility of any zone. When you are nominated by your people that wants to nominate you and it contests, is delegate across Nigeria, not even your zone, across the country that votes for you. So let me clarify that aspect of Suswam's statement. Now, section 47 says, where a vacancy occurs in any of the offices of the party, the executive committee at the appropriate level shall appoint another person from the area or zone where the officer originated from to serve out the tenure of the officer. Take note, he said, where a vacancy occurs in any of the offices of the party, the executive committee at the appropriate level. If you are talking about national secretaryship, what is the appropriate executive committee at the level? The NWC. So it is not the responsibility of the zone. It is a big lie. It's a big fallacy. It is a wrong narrative being carried by Suswam. And we should be told the truth. If he's not reading the constitution, he should ask his boys to read it and tell him. They should stop coming to lie on national TV. It's not the responsibility of the Southeast Zone. If at all there was vacancy, it is the NWC responsibility to appoint a replacement. So that clears that statement. His statement is alien to our constitution and is not in consonance with our constitution. It might be in consonance with his greed to service his political interests, but not in consonance with our constitution. And I've stated it clear in section 47(6).
Recently, there is a court judgment for this matter, which the media and the director of the case have been put to play already. So we would like to know, is there any conflicting judgments or a conflicting decision from the Supreme Court that is leading to this controversy around the party?
No, you see, let me make this clear. Senator Samuel Anyanwu, with love and the desire and drive to serve his people, and the urge and the call for him to serve his people, led him to purchase the form for the Imo State governorship election in 2022. He picked the form, contested, won the primaries, and after that, he went for the November 11th. He won the primaries April 12, 2023. The election was for 11th December 2023. He contested, and due to betrayal from leaders, so-called leaders like the Enugu State governor, he lost the election. I'll say betrayal or treachery because on his campaign ground, the grand finale of his campaign, the Enugu State governor went. What did he ask from Anyanwu? Instead of going to support him and campaign to ensure that PDP wins the election, He went there to ask for a resignation letter from Senator Anyanwu, to tell you how demonic some leaders can be. The Enugu State governor, instead of going to support his kinsman, his party man, went there to ask for a resignation letter, that he should tender his resignation letter. He said he will not tender the resignation letter because there is no need for him to tender resignation letter, because the constitution does not demand for him to resign before contesting election. And you could see that they'll be carrying narrative that Anyanwu has resigned. Provide the resignation letter. Till today, they don't have it. They cannot provide it. Now, that led to a conspiracy to remove him. They went and hired one Mr. Emmanuel Agbo also to institute a case against Anyanwu at the Enugu State High Court. They did, and they won. But as a very intelligent person, Anyanwu went to the court, got a stay of execution to stop the execution of the Enugu State High Court judgment. They went further to the Enugu Division of the Court of Appeal. They won. But do you know the interesting thing? After they got the judgment, Senator Anyanwu also went to the appeal court to secure a stay of execution, interim injunction to that stay of judgment of the appeal court. But there is something that I want Nigerians to know, and party faithful, in their desperation to remove Anyanwu. Do you know that their nominee for national secretaryship, the person of Honorable Sunday Dokoye, was not a party to the suit at the Enugu State High Court and at the appeal court? And just to make sure that through the back door they removed Anyanwu, they went as far as forging our party guideline. Udo Okoye, in connivance with one Adeyemi, the director of organization at the PDP secretariat, it was alleged, connived to, doctor the party guideline to suit their purpose, and that was how they were able to procure the judgment in their favor at the Enugu State High Court and at the Enugu State Appeal Court Division. And you know what? I read the judgment of the Appeal Court. It was so shameful to see a judge that should be abreast with political events to state that the National Secretary of PDP is appointed, and as appointee, based on the Electoral Act as amended 2022 and the PDP Constitution, he ought to resign. But here is a man that was elected on the 30th of October 2021, 30th and 31st of October 2021, and was sworn in on the 9th, I think 10th of December 2021. An appeal court judge claimed that he was appointed. That was a big shame and a fraud. And now let me tell you something. I want to read, because people don't know. They swept it under the carpet. And that is because that boy, the director of organization at the PDP secretariat, Mr. Yemi, his godfather is Shey Makinde, and they suppressed the truth. If not, a criminal offense like forgery of document was being silenced. And that's why we say we will not keep quiet. Because Justice Esho Kayode once said that the minimum wage you can give to anybody is justice. The minimum wage you can give to anybody is justice. And that's why we want justice to be done. That nobody can, through unconstitutionality and illegality, remove Senator Anyanwu. That is what we want to establish. Now, let me read the original party guideline and the doctored party guideline that they used to secure and procure the judgment at the Enugu High Court and the Enugu Court of Appeal. The first one is that, look at the general section here. In our guideline for party primaries in 2023, the general section, he provides, said, general section 1, subject to the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, any aspirant who is a civil servant or public servant shall resign from such office not later than 30 days before the date of the general election. Pursuant Section 84(12) of the Electoral Act as amended, Electoral Act 2022, any aspirant who is a political appointee shall resign his appointment before the purchase of expression of interest and nomination forms. Now, let me read the doctored one before I explain something. The doctored/fake Congress guideline, general provisions. Section 1. Subject to the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, any aspirant who is a civil servant or public servant shall resign from such office not later than 30 days before the date of the primary elections. If you see the other one, it says general elections. But now they remove the word general to primary. Now look at the main area. No, okay, there's another paragraph before the main area. They say pursuant Section 48, no, Section 84(2), Section 84(12) of the Electoral Act 2022. Any aspirant who is a political appointee shall resign his appointment before the purchase of expression of interest form, expression of interest and nomination forms. Now look at the place they included. Craftily, satanically, devilishly included. Pursuant to Section 47(5) of the PDP Constitution 2017 as amended, which mandatorily require resignation of any elected officer of the party vying for elective office. Any aspirant who is a party office holder / executive committee member at any level shall resign his or her office or appointment 7 days before the purchase of the expression of interest form, and shall provide proof of resignation along with his or her completed EOI before being allowed to procure the nomination form. Failure to adhere to this provision shall be ground for automatic disqualification of such aspirant. This is alien to our Constitution. That section they quoted, I want to read that section to see that this fraud should not be allowed to go unpunished. Now look at what Section 47(5) said in our Constitution as amended in 2017. Any officers elected into the executive committee of the party at any level may, that is the operational word, may resign his or her office by giving 30 days notice in writing to the appropriate executive committee, comma, that is a full statement. Then I say, except in the case of resignation for the purpose of vying for an elective office, which shall be effective within the period stipulated in the guideline issued for such elective office by National Executive Committee of the party or the State Executive Committee in respect of local government election. Now, let me explain that. What our Constitution says is that you may resign, not shall resign, as they claim in the doctored party guideline. The second paragraph of that section of the Constitution is saying that in the event you want to resign and the guideline has a different period given for you to resign as compared to what is in the Constitution, you should abide by that guideline that is given for you to resign. If the Constitution, now they claim is 7 days and the Constitution says 30 days, so you should resign between that 7 days and not the 30 days. That is, they gave a caveat there. So there is no place in our Constitution that made that kind of statement, satanic statement. And this is done by the person that they want to make a national secretary. He connivers with the director of organization, because he has a godfather that can protect him. So he feels he can do and undo, and went ahead to doctor that document to ensure that they secure the judgment they successfully secured at the Enugu High Court and the Enugu Court of Appeal Division. So you can see that the Supreme Court, before this case got to the Supreme Court, now you talk about the Supreme Court. Before it got to the Supreme Court, I was just trying to put clarification to how it got to the Supreme Court. Now, at the Supreme Court, what Anyanwu prayers, one of them was for him to be, it should be stated clearly who is the National Secretary. If the judgment given by the lower courts is carried, if not, then the court should make their statement. And the Supreme Court made it clear. In fact, they call it, I've forgotten the exact word their lordship referred to the statement, to the judgment of the Enugu High Court and Appeal Court Division, that it is, I've forgotten the exact word, I'll get the exact word, and when I recall, I'll mention it. It was satanic, in other words, to rephrase it. For such a judgment, because of that, they had a dissenting voice. But the Supreme Court judgment, there, all Anyanwu prayers were unanimously upheld, and they said it was meritorious. That is number one. And one of the prayers is that the party is supreme, and the party constitution is supreme. So whatever that is happening, it should be done within the party. And the Supreme Court held that also. While those that are claiming to want to benefit and misinterpreting the Supreme Court judgment said that, no, it is not the party's power with its constitution to decide who is the leader of the party, its own association. That was their position. And the Supreme Court said, no, we have been consistent with the fact that affairs of a political party is the internal affairs of the political party in line with their constitution. And they said, go and use the internal mechanism of your party to resolve this issue. Go and use, in other words, your constitution. But our leaders that are fraudulent because of their ambition, inordinate ambition and interest, they will not say that the Supreme Court did not give a definite pronouncement. Go and read the prayers of Anyanwu. Is there any association that is registered or political party that is registered without a constitution? No. So if they say, go and use the internal mechanism of your party, go and use the constitution of your party. And following the constitution of our party, Anyanwu remains the national secretary. Following the Supreme Court pronouncement, for crying out loud, he is the national secretary. No dispute about that.
Okay, so looking at the recent interview from the Minister for City, Mr. Wike's Excellency, and the party crisis now, he said something about the governance forum. He said the governance, he carried them as a prayer group. Now looking at this crisis now, where does the governance forum stand, and what is their role and their power?
Well, I've even said it before the FCT minister made this thing, and the FCT minister also saw that side of it, and what he said is just the simple truth. The PDP Governors Forum is not an organ of the party, with due respect to them. It's like a pressure group in the PDP. And if you're a pressure group, you cannot impose your will on the people. You can use your influence to see how you can get one or two things done, but not just outright imposition against the established constitution of the party. And that's why he made that statement, that how would the Governors Forum come out to say, same Governors Forum that relied on the Enugu judgment, at the Enugu High Court judgment, same Governors Forum that relied on the Enugu division of the Appeal Court, to say Udo Okoye should come in as National Secretary. Now Supreme Court gave judgment, they no longer rely on Supreme Court judgment to say Anyanwu truly has never been removed, but remained the National Secretary. Because if you look at the judgment, if they say go to resolve your issue with your party, before this issue started, who is the National Secretary? Anyanwu. So he remains the National Secretary. So what the SVT minister is trying to say that the Governors Forum should not create more crisis for the party by pronouncing the Deputy National Secretary to act when we have a substantive National Secretary. How would those governors feel if the President announced their deputy as the acting governors, while they are there as governors? How would they feel? That is what they have done. But thank God they realized that mistake and convey an expanded meeting, inviting their former colleagues, or you can refer to as senior colleagues, to brainstorm with them and set up the Saraki committee. And the Saraki committee haven't gone through, peruse the facts on ground, based on law, based on constitution, based on legality, discovered that Anyanwu is the national secretary and has directed that he should resume as national secretary. Now, if you look at the doctored guideline, you will see that they said before you will be given this in a form, your interest, and before you purchase your interest and whatever form, you should present letter to show that you have resigned. But Anyanwu went through screening, went through appeal before contesting as for the primaries. If he did not resign and did not present that resignation letter, how come he was screened? That is to tell you that there is a lot of fraud going on in that directorate of organization. A lot of fraud, because they were screened. Same directorate set up a screening committee. They went and screened Senator Anyanwu and passed him. He went ahead to face the appeal and he contested the primaries. So you could see that there is a lot of deceit going on. And that's why it is very important for us to clear it, because most of our leaders come to lie to members in order to sway their opinion in favor of them.
Now, recently there's a briefing by the staff of the PDP. What do you have to say about the briefing?
You see, the press briefing by PDP staffs is the most unfortunate thing that has happened, and the first of its kind in the negative sense in our party. And I will say this, that there is something that is happening that should be discouraged. Seyi Makinde, the governor of Oyo State, sponsor this mutiny, sponsor this what is it called? Rebellion. Sponsor this insubordination. Sponsor this treachery against the party. The party that has fed him, he is biting the finger that has fed him. He left the party, came back, left the party, came back, and they gave him ticket to be governor. Is this how Seyi Makinde is going to pay PDP back? Now, I've said he sponsored treasury within the party. Wike has been paying staff's salary. Wike has been paying staff's housing allowance. Never a time, not Wike or anybody that has done that, paid money directly to staffs. They either pay through the NWC account and through the NWC that is saddled with the responsibility to run the party affairs, the day-to-day party affairs, to pay staffs. But what did we see? And that's what I say is the one that's sponsoring mutiny, treachery, insubordination, subversiveness in the party. From information available to us from Oyo State Government House, they opened an account and was paying staffs directly, to staff's account, paying salaries, paying housing allowance, just a few days before they did that press briefing, directly to the account. How will Seyi Makinde feel if another state governor pays salaries of his staff, encourage them to government house to shut down government house? That is what he did, undermining the chairman of his party. In MPN, in the days of MPN, UPN, Seyi Makinde will not dare that because they will kick him out. They will kick him out. If he was that popular, he would have won election under other party, not PDP. But PDP gave you the platform. You now sponsor meeting in PDP. Staffs will have the courts, the impetus to address press in the in the NEC hall without the knowledge of the national chairman and the national secretary, who are the key persons that runs the party affairs day to day, without their knowledge, pay staffs, and they went to address. If PDP national chairman and secretary Netanyahu does not, before the NEC, a day to the NEC meeting, send those staffs, most especially their team lead, Alhaji Gurama Bawa, Sheikh Makinde boy that he has been using, that he used to cause all this mutiny in the party, Mr. Yemi and Mr. Adeyemi, Tom that is using PDP platform just to promote only Sheikh Makinde affairs because Sheikh Makinde paid him, appointed him one of his aides, and the director of information at the PDP secretariat. If they don't suspend them indefinitely, then that means we that are working to ensure that they pay salary, these are people that they have been paid salary, then we are going to shut that gate. So those staffs will not come in. Let them go and bring their godfather to come and push out of the gate. We are going to mobilize. The reason is this, that if we don't discourage this today, sometime it's a wrong precedent that is being set, another governor will do it. Because look at the staffs. Staffs have worked as a public servant before I resign. You dare not. You dare not address press. Even the Department of Corporate Affairs, the Director of Corporate Communication, will have to get clarification from the DG before making a statement. Because the statement that is being made by the staff has nothing to do with their welfare. What is the business of a staff regarding the leadership torso of secretaryship? As a staff, you ought to be neutral. But today, we didn't see any iota of neutrality in those staffs. And that is why we are demanding for indefinite suspension of those names you have mentioned and those that follow them. We need to purge the system and bring new people that will take oath of secrecy and oath of allegiance. So whatever happens in the secretariat remains in the secretariat. Not every single thing that happens before you know, before even NWC people come out from the NWC, you hear it in Ibadan, you hear it in so-so place. And that is what Sheikh Makinde has done, the harm he has done to the party. Simply because you want to, through illegality and unconstitutionality, enthrone a misfit, a thug, a document forger as national secretary of the greatest party in Africa. They should be ashamed of themselves. Sheikh Makinde and Peter Mba should be ashamed of themselves. And you are sentenced to death. It's mutiny. You are sentenced to death. So they should be indefinitely suspended, being in a democratic environment, and let proper investigation be done. But they shouldn't sit down there and investigation is done about that. We wouldn't accept that. We are on the field. We labor for their salary to be paid.
Okay, so looking at all this crisis within the party, recently the Governors Forum and the former governor, which the former governor, they had a meeting and announced as former state president Bukola Saraki as the chairman of the Conflict Resolution Committee or something. Now, what's your stand on this, and do you have faith in this committee?
Well, I want to say that I have great respect for the former Senate President and former Governor of Kwara State and Governors Forum in Nigeria. I have great respect for him. And his appointment as the chairman, I believe, is in right direction, because it's a terrain he's familiar with. He's very much familiar with that terrain. He has been a reconciliation committee chairman before. And from the first action he has taken, or his committee has taken, I think strongly that this committee will go a long way to address the internal and interest wrangling in PDP. In this case, I align and agree with what the former Benue State governor said, that Senator Saraki is respected by a lot of people in the party, and that he believes the committee will do justice to the responsibility given them. And we are beginning to see that justice that, he has been, his committee is dishing out by looking at, starting with the most important issue, the national secretaryship of our party, and having perused every fact before them, declaring that Netanyahu should go back, irrespective of political sentiment and affiliation, is commendable. And that is why we salute that courage and not falling to the blackmail of this purported Southeast Caucus meeting that took place, which threatened that they will leave PDP if their preferred candidate for the position is not picked. We wish them well, because we are already aware that the Enugu State Governor, information has revealed that even went to meet with the Vice President, and APC in Enugu State said they don't want such a person, a liability. They don't want him. And that's why he has not moved. If not, we know they wanted to move in there. And now gather some people, spent force, I will call them, and say that they want to decamp. Let them decamp. Let them go so we can rebuild our party. It's a good thing, because I have a lot of people there that will do well for the party. Ask them how many of them won their state for PDP in the 2023 election. How many of them? Even the Enugu State Governor. Ask Achiko Dewan, the former Imo State Governor. Ask the former Ebonyi State Governor. None of them. Most of them, they could not deliver their state. And they want to decamp. Yes, they have their right to. They can decamp. No problem. But will not, because of their threat and treachery against the constitution and legality, to say we accept an illegality and unconstitutionality like someone, Dokoye. We all saw the videos. We saw the videos running barefooted. People called me from outside this country, no less than 3 countries, that, is that the person you want to use as your national secretary? God forbid. I said, no, God has forbidden that one already. He will never. A talk. PDP has not gone that low now. For crying out loud, we have not gone that low. Our founding fathers, Chief Alex Ekweme, Chief Solomon Lad, will be crying. We should allow the dead rest in peace. These leaders, this crop of leaders today, should allow the founding fathers that are no longer alive to rest in peace, because they will be crying.
Now, okay, as we're running up on this now, we are talking about the crisis at national level. Well, don't let's put the grassroots on that, because the grassroots matters as well. In Imo State recently, Honorable Gucheri, the Kenga, as is popularly known, recently installed or announced the caretaker chairman, which I believe is against the party. I think a similar situation occurred again in Rivers. Do you have anything to say about this?
You see, I don't like talking about that boy, that spoiled brat called Oguchie. He's a boy. He joined PDP in 2022. He was hustling on the street. Saraki made him a Serran boy in the name of P. And all the people that has helped him in his life, he has betrayed them. Today, he's in the House of Rep by the grace, by the benevolence of Anyanwu and the FCT minister. Without them, I dare him to a public debate to come and disprove what I've said. That without them, he would have been in the House of Rep. He wouldn't have been in the House of Rep. God used them. Because one, he did not win the primaries. They brought him in through the appeal committee. If not, it was one Dr. George that won the primaries. And his primaries was not conducted in the Idiatol Federal Constituency. It was conducted in Olu Zone. And by following the 2022 Electoral Act and our PDP Constitution, the primary is null and void. And that's why when they took the case to the tribunal, he lost at the tribunal. He went to the appeal with the intervention of the FCT minister. He scaled through the appeal. We have one senator and one House of Rep member that had same issue. They did not come back. They lost at the tribunal, they lost at the appeal. And such an ingrate will open his mouth and be abusing PDP leaders, abusing the FCT minister, abusing the national chairman, abusing the national secretary, calling them names that he's not even worthy to clean their shoe. He's not even worthy to clean their shoes. They gave him opportunity. He gets intoxicated without opportunity given to him. Now, coming up to say that he has appointed a caretaker committee, who is Ogochie? Remove House of Rep is nobody. Now, he's no longer our party member. His ward, his local government, his state has expelled him. He's not a PDP member, and this thing has been sent to the NWC for ratification. So as we speak, he's not a PDP member. So how will a PDP member come and decide what will happen in the PDP? He's not a PDP member. But outside that, he doesn't even have the powers. No individual can appoint a caretaker committee. The NEC-approved chairman of PDP in Imo State is Honorable Austin Wachuku. In fact, recently the chairman of secretary of the BOT wrote to him to nominate a replacement for their Imo State slot of BOT member. And maybe that's why people like Chiko Dewa are angry, because he wasn't nominated. He was the one that nominated. So forget that spoiled brat called Ogochie. It's inconsequential. I don't talk about him. I don't like to talk about him. I want him to come to a live debate if he's not a coward. Then talking about Rivers State, I so felt sad when I see elders come to media to display their, show of shame. Why I'm saying that? I was watching Arise, I saw one of our elders, Elder Emmanuel Gidi, claiming that he's one Ewu in Rivers State that is a caretaker committee chairman. I just laughed. Because when people like us take our life, our integrity, everything, our political feature, to defend the truth, to defend Damagu as the national chairman, the like of Samuel Emmanuel Gidi, we're against it. It could not. I dare him to. I have the video. They asked him a simple question. As we speak today, who is your national chairman? He could not answer that question. I have the videos. I kept it for record purposes. And such person was appointed caretaker committee of the South. It shows the magnanimity of the acting national chairman, the open-mindedness. If I were to be the one, Ogidi will not be the chairman. And I am calling for him to be removed. He doesn't deserve to be there. He doesn't have the capacity. That cannot speak the truth. Even though you don't want or you don't like Damagu, you would have said, yes, Damagu is there now, but I don't want him. Just like the Benue State governor, he said, as we speak today, Anyanwu is the one that is signing PDP document. In other words, the national secretary until NEC. And let me say this, NEC does not have the powers. It is only the convention that has the powers to remove a national officer or elect a national officer. Now, he's making a statement that it is is it Ewo Abiyewu? I don't know who he is, or whatever. It is a fallacy, a big lie. I dare him to produce the resolution that led to their caretaker committee appointment. The only approved Congress and ratified Congress, same way he was mentioning Edo and Bayelsa, it was the Honorable Aaron Chukwuemeka-led committee. Yes, they procured, some PDP members procured judgment to nullify the Congress, which we are challenging because we know the judgment was procured. But there was no resolution to the fact that there was a committee appointed to head or manage the affairs of the Rivers State PDP. None. And that's why I say Elder Gidi is unfit. to be the South-South Caretaker Committee chairman if he's still there. So in Rivers State, this is the situation, and I've told you the situation in Imo State too. And I dare any of them that I've mentioned to come based on what I've said here to challenge me.
I think this is a final question. Looking at the national crisis, at the state level, yesterday some senators, some PDP senators under the minority caucus, led by Dr. Abamoro, came out to say the party is still strong and will compete in 2027. And meanwhile, while that was going on, the State caucus of PDP were having another briefing saying they endorsed the president under the APC. There's a current president to run the 2027. Now, looking at all these things, what are the chances of the party in 2027?
Well, you see, I have said it on several platforms. The FCT minister has echoed it that PDP should come out straight and tell Nigerians we are zoning our presidency to the South come 2027. You don't need to wait till convention. In fact, that will determine which zone, which region should produce the national chairman. So if the presidency is coming from the South, which we are demanding, which is the pulse of the nation, which ought to be, then the national chairman will come from the North. So what is happening is because PDP has not come out straight to say the presidency must come from the North, from the South, come 2027, as against some greedy persons for their inordinate ambition that is dragging it to go to the North. Otherwise, it should remain in the South. And that's why you are seeing most of Nigerians, PDP faithful, not happy with that, are pledging, to support the president because he's a Southerner and so on. That is the issue. And also, the PDP caucus in the Senate, what they said, they have made their position. Yes, we have our interest wrangling, no doubt about that. But the truth also remains, what we are experiencing is compared to nothing. It's nothing compared to what the APC is experiencing. It's because they have the presidency. That's why we don't see a lot about it. And why PDP own is being echoed is because PDP is the major party in Nigeria that is providing opposition leadership. So everybody is looking up to us. You know that. So, and that is why they have come up to say, see, despite what we are facing, we remain strong, we remain the leading party, we remain the party that will wipe away the tears of Nigerians. Same thing is what the minority leader of the House of Reps is doing. It's not noisy. We only have one minority opposition leader in the House of Reps. Ogochire, whatever thing is calling, is hustling. It's not recognized on the floor of the House. You are a journalist, go and ask. It's not. Most Right Honorable Chinda Kingsley Ogundu Chinda is the known opposition leader, legislative leader in the House of Reps, and is doing well representing the opposition. Not by noise making, not by being garrulous and being responsible on media that makes you an opposition leader. No, he has shown maturity, and that's why that one. What did he call it? Opposition lawmakers. This thing. That one is hustling platform, association to hustle, to complement his hustling as a House of Rep member, and it's unfortunate because it is at the expense of his constituents. And I've said this, and I dare him, I repeat, for a challenge one-on-one on live media. Let me expose his lies, his propaganda and blackmail, that which is his trade, stock in trade. So that is my take on what the caucus in the House of Reps, Senator said, and even in the House of Reps. The endorsement of... No, I am not saying that it's not anti-party. I didn't say so. But I'm saying that just like the FCT minister expressed his grievances towards the party by stating it clear that if you don't zone it to the South, I will not support the presidential candidate. But did what others could not do that are against him. and speaking bad about it, delivering the party from the Assembly, Governor, Rep, Senate to PDP. So they are looking at it. The party has not come up to say, no. If the party made that position clear today, you will see how everybody will begin to understand that PDP seriously is ready for the 2027 presidential election to fight the APC. But for now, they are not saying that. Well, I want to thank you, but also state that I want to call on the governor of Imo State, not Imo State, sorry, the governor of Enugu State and the governor of Oyo State, that they should please, with due respect to their person and office, stop this threshold, this mutiny in the party, and this insubordination. That the seed they are sowing today, they will reap it. If they don't desist from promoting illegality, Anyanwu remains and will remain the national secretary till December 10th, 2025. Nobody can change it. And when he said no force can remove him, even though they use Julius Berger's grave, what he's saying is that we will not allow illegality to stand in PDP. We will not allow unconstitutionality to prevail in PDP as against constitutionality and against legality. That is what he's trying to say. And people are saying, the former governor is saying, of Imo State, saying it's not bigger than. It's not saying it's bigger than. Nobody is bigger than anything. But illegality cannot stand. No matter how big you are, no matter how big the group are, we will not allow illegality, we will not allow unconstitutionality to stand. That was what one he was sending to them. And that is our position. And it will not stand. Thank you very much. My friend has been laughing.